This is just a very brief update, and we need your approval on a resolution page for our next DCNR grant application. We're going to be applying for funds to extend the rail trail from Chestnut Street, where the rail trail phase 5 crosses, all the way west to 22nd Street. We have a grant application in PennDOT for half of that work. Now we're looking to DCNR to fund the other half, essentially through the John E. Wingert Memorial Park. I think you're very familiar with this and its location. The grant application for DCNR amounts to about $740,000. Rail trails are expensive these days. The PennDOT grant application that we have in that's pending is $991,000. So those two combined would make for an excellent project running from, again, Chestnut Street, I'm going to say near H.A. Boyd's, all the way west to 22nd Street, where this trail will tie into Groninger Woods Park.
So it does go all the way down to 22nd?
That is correct.
Okay,
that is
that's
correct.
wonderful.
That would be excellent, yeah.
But it doesn't include the bridge crossing
No,
over.
that's another phase of work that we'll pursue with the MPO and with others in the coming months. Because that bridge project also potentially has a turn back with it, where some of that 22nd Street portion from 422 to Chestnut would be turned back to North Cornwall Township. Okay? But again, today we need your approval. No funds required from you folks, the county commissioners, for any of this work. It's a combination, again, of PennDOT funding, DCNR funding, and a little bit of funding from LVRT, Inc. But we need your authorization for the secretary, Joellen, for you to sign this resolution that I'll turn into a PDF, and it gets attached to our grant application. Do you have questions?
Any questions?
When will it be done?
2020.
2020.
2020. It takes a while to design. You know, once you get grants approved, it takes a while till you go through the grant approval process, getting agreements in place. It almost takes about a year for reimbursement agreements to get placed. But in the interim, we can be working on design and all the conceptual planning for the project, get environmental clearances. We can do a lot of things in those early stages.
Looks like you brought a visual aid along. Did you want to share it?
This?
Yeah.
It's just the.
Is it what you showed before?
It's just the map I think you've seen before of all of Phase 6. All of Phase 6. And this would be the portion to the east that goes through the Memorial Park. Then there's the phase that goes through 22nd Street all the way out to the park, Groninger Woods Park. Then the phase that comes up to Cumberland Street on 22nd Street with the new bridge that you mentioned. And then the last part of the project would be using a little-used service road behind the mall to connect to Phase 7 that's currently under construction. And that'll be completed sometime this year. So there's work to be done yet, but we're at a good place right now. When you think back a few years ago and all the struggles we had with Norfolk Southern Railroad and not getting the alignment that we initially wanted, this now may turn out to be actually a better alignment and serve more purposes and make more connections.
Yes, more parks are connected, and it's an exciting project.
Yeah, it really is. And John and others are just doing amazing work on maintaining what we have and building partnerships with like the Lebanon Valley Conservancy and now the ski club and others. Really exciting times for the rail trail. And we thank you for your long-standing commitment. We really do.
It's really such a well-received part of our society now, and it really contributes to the quality of life. People move here, they ask about, you know, what do you have in those kind of amenities, and boy, this is such a great sales tool to help with attracting people to our county.
I agree. It's an economic driver, as well as an open space and recreation venue. It brings in tourism. It covers so many different aspects. It's wonderful.
So again, if we could have a...
I can tell you that, excuse me, Tom,
Sure.
I can tell you that as we discuss these large asks with DCNR, and they're pretty big application in dollar-wise, your support, this board's support, and planning's support, and then LBRT as the third point in that triangle is absolutely critical. They view that as a model partnership that they don't have everywhere. They might have pieces of it. Chester County might have a strong commissioner board, but there's no LVRT corresponding group like LVRT, or they might have the opposite, where up in the northern parts of the state, they might have a trails group that's very active, but no county support. So we have all three things going for us here, which creates this scenario that they love and they love to continue to fund. And that's why we feel pretty confident about this application.
It is a team effort.
Yep, no doubt.
Yep.
And you guys are so deep at every level. I mean, they have to appreciate the professional approach that you guys take at every turn as well.
Yeah, they
so-
comment quite often
Thank
about
you, John.
the whole thing, and
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Really appreciate
We
it.
are gonna have some, I just found out too, this is interesting. We did the user survey back in 2011, so those numbers are getting a little dated when we talk about the economics and the
Oh.
user counts.
Gonna do it again.
So we're gonna get a counter, more of a permanent, pretty high-tech counter, from Pennsylvania Rails to Trails that'll enable us, it's actually connected to it has a cellular connection, so we can actually get real-time user data that I'd like to see, because I'm sure it's up.
Does it
compared
run
to-
on solar or something, or must you hook it up to wires?
It has a battery.
Battery.
Pack, so I'm not sure how long
Is
that
it
lasts. Probably pretty
solar, or
long.
is it, you have to take it
Nah,
and recharge it?
I guess you have to take it and recharge it, because the battery pack's actually in the ground.
Huh, in the ground.
Yep.
Water, battery,
Well, it's in a pretty
sealed case.
sealed
Yeah.
case. That'll be interesting to see, 2018 versus 2011. I think it's gonna be pretty dramatic.
Interesting. Do you know where it's gonna be located?
Not exactly, but it's gonna be somewhere near the Cornwall trailhead. We figured that's kind of a midway point. Has to be fairly close to a trailhead. I'm not quite sure why, but they had certain guidelines that we had to follow for installation. So it's either gonna be north or south of that 419 trailhead in Cornwall.
Probably better if we don't exactly know where it is.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that as I was
So the
saying that.
treasure hunt.
Quick question, if I may. Quick question, Tom. This Chestnut Street portion, I think I remember correctly, you're utilizing the county's property
That
on
is
the,
correct.
on the north side there?
That is
that
correct.
going to be a, do you view that as a concrete sidewalk segment, just like
It's gonna be bituminous
neighborhood?
pavement, it's gonna be
Oh, okay.
bituminous pavement off of the roadway, sometimes buffered by parking, and then the trail will be to the north of that, or curbing, but it's gonna be paved.
Okay.
It's going to be paved, and it'll be a two-way trail on the north side of Chestnut Street. And those design details have been worked out already with North Cornwall Township. We had a number of field views, but it is essentially on your land, on county-owned
It'd be
land.
nice to put that to use.
Oh,
somewhere,
yeah.
you know, I'd like-
There's a tremendous amount of walking there, getting to the mall and places. If you're out and about there, there's a lot of pedestrian activity. A lot.
It's a longer transit route.
Yeah.
And it's visible from the road if if they need to police it. It's,
Oh, yeah.
it's a great open
Yeah.
area.
It's a very wide road to begin with, so that helps us a little bit as well, but there is sufficient right-of-way to the north to do this.
All right, with all that said, do I have a motion to grant these folks approval to move forward?
I'll move it.
Second,
I have a motion and a second to move forward with the grant applications for Phase 6A of our Rails and Trails project. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approved.
Did you sign this?
I would love to sign, if I may.
Very bottom.
Yeah, on the very bottom.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you
Thank
very
you all.
much for coming.
Thank you,
in.
gentlemen, for all your hard work.
Yep, yep.
So glad you got that done. Years and years of meetings and